So, Judge promos, which have this symbol now, are extremely exclusive cards in Magic. Well, because there are only so many judges out there, and that's who gets the cards. So if you see this symbol on a card, well, I think moving forward since 2020, regardless, if you see this symbol on a card, it's probably an extremely exclusive card with a very exclusive price tag. Now, I am definitely not an MTG finance expert, but, when cards have low supply and high demand, I think it's pretty reasonable to assume they're going to have a very high price tag. So, on this episode, I'm going to talk about 3 brand new Judge promos that were revealed, and when it comes to their potential prices, well, we've got some historical data to compare to. So we're not even halfway done with 2022, but earlier this year we already have seen half of the cards from the Judge promos, with the cards Greater Oromancy, Omniscience, No Mercy, Stranglehold, and Parallel Lives. All pretty expensive cards in their own right, but yeah, these promo versions are of course even more exclusive and therefore even more expensive. And actually, as you can see on the bottom left of each of these cards, like on Parallel Lives, we have 003 out of 010. So yeah, there's going to be 10 promos this year, and yeah, these were the first 5 that were shown. And with them having been out for a little while now, well, we can start to see what their prices ended up being. So really quick, Greater Oromancy is already a very expensive card, and this one's actually a very interesting price difference. Because the Shadowmoor version, which of course we've never seen a reprint of, and I believe, please correct me below in the comments if I'm wrong on this, but Shadowmoor and, the sets in that block really didn't have all that big of a print run or something like that. Anyways, not MTG finance, but regardless, yeah, the original version of Greater Oromancy is incredibly expensive already at $70. The Judge promo version is of course more expensive, but only $8 more expensive at $77.71. Now, I will say this is not a typical case because, yeah, the promo version and the regular version of the card, and again, there's only one printing of that, are pretty close in price. Next up, let's take a look at Omniscience, and the regular versions of the card, again, are around $13 or so from the core set 2019 or Magic 2013. But when it comes to the Judge promo card, that's all the way up at $80.27. So yeah, obviously if a card has had multiple printings, that can make an impact. But it also shows that just because a card is cheaper when it comes to its base price, again with this one being $13 compared to, the previous one $70, the promo version for this one is more expensive at $80. So of course there are plenty of factors to keep in mind. Moving on, No Mercy is yet another card, and this one is actually even more interesting, at least in my opinion, because with this one in Urza's Legacy, the original version, the price is $41.20, and that's actually the only one that actually, has a standard version. Because the next version is that Amonkhet Invocation, which is $101.85, which is incredibly expensive, and again, that's just a promo essentially. Or, again, those invocations are just incredibly rare. Regardless, the Judge promo gift card from 2022, $212.88. Yeah, that is absurd. And then another example from this year is Stranglehold at $17.07 or $15.99 for the regular versions. But yeah, the Judge card is $60.48, which is the least of all the ones that we've seen so far. But still, that is 4 times the price of the original. And yeah, this one's really interesting because it's never actually been in a real set. This card is from Commander products, and then also obviously from the Judge promo, which, yeah, $60 might be the cheapest out of all the ones we've seen so far, but still very, very expensive. And speaking of expensive, well, Parallel Lives is a $62 card from Innistrad that has never seen an actual reprint. On the right, you will see Jumpstart Historic Horizons, but that's completely digital, so yeah, that doesn't count. And yeah, the Judge gift card version is $104.16, which again is a ton of money. About, less than half of the actual, No Mercy card, but still. As you can see, there's a lot of different factors that can go into how expensive these Judge promos are, but even just looking at these previous 5 Judge promos, at the very least, they are $60 all the way up to, again, $212. Now, with that historical data in mind, let's talk about the new promos and how much they could possibly be. So with a recent tweet from @Judge Academy, it was revealed that for the Q3 Judge promos, they are going to be Training Grounds, Growing Rites of Itlimoc / Itlimoc Cradle of the Sun, which is the back of the card, and of course, Smothering Tithe. That's right, that famously infamous card in Commander is getting a Judge promo. Yeah, we're gonna get into how expensive that one might be. So let's go through each of these, showing off the new art, talk about the card and what its current price is, and the potential for that price for the Judge promo. So first up, let's tackle Smothering Tithe, and this is the brand new art, and yeah, this kind of can show off just exactly how much treasures your opponent can have, and it's a beautiful piece of artwork. In the bottom right, you can even see like the head side of the coin where it's a head that seems to be coughing up gold, which is, yeah, I mean, definitely something that Smothering Tithe makes your opponents do. And actually, I just want to say that this art very much reminds me of, like, Scrooge McDuck, and, the vault with all the gold in it, where Scrooge McDuck kind of, like, swims through it. But obviously, this individual is not swimming through the vault of gold. They are being smothered by it. Obviously, because of Smothering Tithe. So definitely an appropriate name. Also, in the bottom right, I'm not sure why exactly we got the PSD file name, but we did. So, yay. And actually, with these Judge promos, only the artwork is actually released, but that's really, all that they are. Obviously, there are small cosmetic changes on the actual card. When it comes to the actual set symbol, obviously not being, a Ravnica set symbol, and it instead being, the Judge promo, and then having, the watermark behind the text, and that kind of stuff. But yeah, so this is just a mock-up for discussion purposes, but yeah, Smothering Tithe, nothing's gonna actually change on the card, but if you don't know what it is, here we go. An enchantment for 3 and a white, whenever an opponent draws a card, that player may pay 2. If the player doesn't, you create a colorless treasure token. So yeah, this is an incredibly powerful card that is absolutely absurd in Commander. I mean, again, you've got 3 opponents, and they're each going to be drawing at least 1 card in their turn, and 2 is a lot to have to pay to make someone not get a treasure token. So either you are taxing them for a ton, and obviously, with something like a wheel, it's going to be impossible for them to pay for everything, or yeah, you're just making a ton of treasure tokens, which you then, get way ahead of your opponents and utilize those, and yeah, there are plenty of ways to take advantage of this, and there's a reason why it sees a ton of play in Commander. I mean, if my calculations are correct, on EDHREC, it appears to be the 21st most popular card in all of Commander. It sees play in 29% of eligible decks, and this card is incredibly expensive already, so this is just pretty absurd to have that high of a percentage. I mean, just taking a look at its Scryfall page, we can see its price is $33.94, for the standard version. There was a promo version in Ravnica Legions as well, but yeah, not a reprint. This card has not seen a reprint, so this is the first, alternative art version of the card that we're going to see with the Judge promo as it is. And again, the supply is going to be incredibly low. So again, because of that low supply, obviously that's not going to impact this price basically at all. And yeah, that Judge promo is going to be absurdly expensive. Again, just think about how many Commander players are out there, how many love to bling out their decks, and how popular of a card Smothering Tithe is. That is a recipe for this Judge promo to be well above $100, and to be honest, I really wouldn't be surprised if it was the most expensive promo from this year, even more expensive than No Mercy, which apparently again is $212. So yeah, players that want the new Smothering Tithe are going to have to pay up. Speaking of which, let's move on to the next promo art with Growing Rites of Itlimoc / Itlimoc Cradle of the Sun. But first up, we're starting with Growing Rites of Itlimoc, or at least I should say I am assuming that this is the front of the card. It was not labeled, but as you can see, things are kind of growing in it, so that would make sense. And we got a cute little dinosaur poking out of an egg, which is just adorable. And then, of course, on the backside, those little dinosaurs are slightly less adorable, but yeah, this would look like it would actually be, the backside of the card after it transforms. We've got all these, lush lands and these, slightly older dinosaurs that are very scary. Or at least I should say, very scary if they were coming at me. Regardless, like I said with Smothering Tithe, just the art was actually revealed, so yeah, here's some quick mock-ups with, Growing Rites of Itlimoc, and the backside again, Itlimoc Cradle of the Sun. Growing Rites is a legendary enchantment for 2 and a green that says, when it enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library, you may reveal a creature card from among them, put in your hand, put the rest of the bottom of your library in any order. And then at the beginning of your end step, if you control 4 more creatures, transform Growing Rites of Itlimoc. It obviously transforms into Itlimoc. It can tap for a green, or more importantly, it can tap to add green your mana pool for each creature you control. So obviously that front side is not all that difficult to flip, and it's even providing you some card advantage when it comes into play by getting you a creature off the top of your library. And then when it does flip, it's essentially a better version of Gaia's Cradle, because yeah, Gaia's Cradle can do that, second part, but it can't just do the first part. So if you don't have any creatures in play, this can still be utilized for mana. But yeah, most of the time you're gonna have creatures in play, and you can tap this for a ton of mana. And as we can see for the price of this card, currently it's just under $20 at $19.83 for the regular version, but of course there are promo versions as well in Ixalan, which are, $40 or $50. So obviously the base version of this card is not quite as expensive as, say, again, the base version of Smothering Tithe, but still $20 is decently expensive. And as we saw, from the previous promos, even with a Judge promo like Stranglehold, where its base version was, $10 to $15 or so, when it's reprinted, as a Judge promo with, again, that small supply and high demand, the price is around $60 or so for that one. So yeah, I could easily see this one being $60, $70 or so. And it might surprise me and be even higher than that as well. I mean, a lot of Commander players really like this card, especially in creature decks. But now let's move on to the final Judge promo that was revealed with Training Grounds, and this is the brand new art for it. So whereas Growing Rites seem to be more on the lines of, again, dinosaurs and Ixalan, this one seems to be more on the lines of, Kamigawa. Regardless, again, yeah, the art was the only thing that was revealed, so here is the mock-up just on the original card. Training Grounds is an enchantment for a blue that says, activate abilities of creatures you control cost up to 2 less to activate. This ability can't reduce the amount of mana ability cost to activate to less than 1 mana. This is an incredibly powerful effect, especially for certain commanders that, might have some activated abilities that you really want to use and abuse. And for just a 1 mana investment, things can get pretty crazy with this enchantment. Now, this one is slightly different because this card originally came out in Rise of the Eldrazi again, which is a full set, and that was around $30, but this one has also been reprinted on the list. And the list is just an ongoing, list of cards that essentially just keep getting reprinted in other sets. Cards and lists are found in set boosters from sets 25% of the time. Regardless, again, not a full reprint, but still one that does impact the price. So yeah, even with a small reprint, this one is still $30. So a Judge promo version of this card can definitely get up there in price as well. Though that being said, if I had to guess, I would think that this one would be the most affordable, if you can call it that, of the three, with it being, only in 3% of eligible decks versus Growing Rites of Itlimoc is in 7, and again, Smothering Tithe is like the 21st most, played card in all of Commander. That being said, again, this does see like 3 times as much play as Stranglehold, so yeah, I think the price is going to be at the very least around $60 like Stranglehold is, and probably even more than that. Again, I do want to reiterate, though, that I am not an expert in MTG finance, and I very well could be wrong on my estimations for what all these cards will cost. That being said, again, historically speaking, they are going to be very expensive. Especially a card like Smothering Tithe, which already has a very high demand, an incredibly popular card in Commander, and now we get, a unique version of it, and it's the first other version of it other than the original. But of course, only time will truly tell just how expensive each of these are going to be. And with that, the show is coming to a close, so it's my turn to hear from you. So in the comments below, let me know what your thoughts on this episode are, and as always, thanks again, and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all their support.